Can you imagine a fate so sinister that it seems born from the darkest corners of human imagination? Scaphism, a method of execution used by ancient Persians, fits this grim bill perfectly, combining physical pain and psychological horror in a spectacle meant to warn and terrify. Scaphism's process was cruelly ingenious. Victims were trapped between two boats, fed a steady diet of milk and honey, which was also smeared across their bodies, attracting insects. This concoction wasn't just for nourishment, but also acted as a bait to lure insects to the helpless individual. Exposed to the elements and unable to move, the victim would lie floating on stagnant water or under the blistering sun, their situation growing progressively more dire. The insects, drawn by the sweetness, would begin to bite and burrow, leading to painful infections and a slow, festering death. The psychological torture of anticipating this gradual demise, coupled with the physical agony of the execution, made Scaphism an extraordinarily fearsome punishment designed not just to kill, but to serve as a brutal spectacle. This ancient method underscores the extreme lengths to which societies have gone to punish and deter wrongdoing, using methods that strike fear far beyond the immediate context of their application. The detailed accounts of Scaphism, while fascinating, are also a stark reminder of the historical capabilities for cruelty. They prompt us to reflect on how punishment methods have evolved and how they reflect the values and technologies of their times. In the tale of Scaphism, we see not just a method of execution, but a tool of state terror, designed to be as much about public spectacle as about the punishment of the individual. Exaggeration as a tool in ancient histories. What if the most gruesome tales of history were mere fabrications of the victors? As we peel back the layers of time, the story of Scaphism challenges us to discern fact from strategic fiction. The primary accounts of Scaphism come from Greek historians like Plutarch, who were often embroiled in deep-rooted ideological conflicts with their Persian neighbors. These narratives, rich in detail and moral judgment, serve not just to record events, but to paint a vivid picture of Persian culture as barbarically other. This portrayal might have been a strategic choice, aimed at reinforcing Greek cultural and moral superiority. In this light, Scaphism could be seen not just as a method of execution, but as a potent symbol of Persian cruelty, meticulously crafted and possibly exaggerated by Greek scribes. Modern scholars are skeptical about the actual use of Scaphism, noting the lack of concrete archaeological evidence and questioning the practicality of such an elaborate execution method. The feasibility of maintaining such a torturous process, along with the required resources and conditions, makes its historical reality suspect. Additionally, the logistical challenges of such a method keeping a person alive while exposed to the elements and dependent on a steady diet of milk and honey to attract insects raise practical doubts that further blur the lines between historical fact and narrative flourish. These stories may have been exaggerated or even completely fabricated as a form of ancient propaganda, skillfully crafted to demonize the Persian enemy and unite the Greek city-states against a common adversary. This use of narrative as a tool of war underscores the power of stories not just to entertain, but to influence politics and societal views. The tale of Scaphism, whether entirely true or not, highlights the strategic use of horror to shape public perception and historical memory. In delving into the history of Scaphism, we are reminded that history is often told by the victors, and what we accept as fact might merely be a masterful play of exaggeration and literary artifice. The enduring legacy of Scaphism, embedded in the cultural consciousness as a peak of ancient cruelty, challenges us to question the origins and motives behind the historical accounts we often take for granted. The debate among modern historians. Can you hear the echoes of historians' debates? As they delve into the dark annals of ancient execution methods, the ghostly tale of Scaphism flickers between stark reality and vivid myth. But what secrets does it really hold? The debate among modern historians about the authenticity of Scaphism captures a fascinating intersection of history and mythology. The detailed cruelty of Scaphism, as described in ancient texts, alongside the substantial logistical challenges such as maintaining the integrity of the boats and ensuring the survival of the victim, long enough for the execution to take its full, torturous course, casts doubt on its widespread use. These factors make it an unlikely candidate for a common execution method, suggesting that its primary function may have been literary rather than historical. Moreover, the fact that the most vivid accounts of Scaphism come from Greek sources, often written with a clear agenda to depict Persian culture as barbaric, introduces a significant bias. This perspective has led scholars to question the reliability of these sources and consider the possibility that Scaphism was exaggerated or even invented to serve as a cautionary tale of ultimate punishment. This ongoing scholarly dispute underscores the broader themes in historical interpretation, where the line between historical fact and cultural narrative often blurs. It highlights how historical narratives are not just reflections of past realities, but are also shaped by the cultural, political, and social contexts of the historians who write them. The possibility that Scaphism is more of a myth than a reality does not trivialize its study, but rather highlights the role of storytelling in shaping societal norms and behaviors through fear and moral instruction. In exploring the debate over Scaphism, we are reminded of the power of history to influence contemporary thought and the importance of critical engagement with historical sources. This narrative, whether fact or fiction, serves as a potent reminder of the lengths to which human societies might go to enforce justice or inspire fear, thus enriching our understanding of cultural legacies and the human condition. Psychological impact and the power of horrific tales. Are you ready to peer into the abyss? The tale of Scaphism not only chills the spine but also challenges our psyche, drawing a thin line between historical fact and psychological horror. The narrative of Scaphism, whether factual or embellished, serves as a dark mirror reflecting the macabre fascinations and fears of human societies. This execution method, with its slow, invasive torment, touches deep-seated fears of entrapment and bodily decay, exploiting the psychological vulnerabilities common to all humans. Such methods were possibly employed as much for their deterrent effect as for their capability to punish, playing on the community's fears to uphold law and order. The psychological impact of Scaphism extends beyond its historical context, influencing both ancient spectators and modern readers. It exemplifies how the power of horrific tales can transcend time, continuing to evoke fear and moral contemplation in contemporary society. These stories shape our understanding of justice and punishment, weaving into the cultural fabric narratives that caution against moral transgressions. Furthermore, the enduring interest in such extreme forms of punishment highlights our ongoing struggle to balance justice with humanity, a theme as relevant today as it was in ancient times. The tale of Scaphism, with its grisly details and dubious authenticity, compels us to question the ethics of punishment and the purposes it serves within our own legal systems. In exploring the psychological impact of Scaphism, we uncover not just a method of ancient execution, but a tool for societal control, reflecting the complex relationship between governance, societal norms, and the human psyche. This exploration reminds us that the stories we perpetuate about the past continue to influence how we conceptualize justice, punishment, and human rights in the present. And that wraps up our eerie journey into the history of Scaphism. If you found this video into the dark corners of ancient punishment intriguing, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more fascinating tales from history.